Do you want to spend less time making your miniature terrain? Or do you want them to look better in the end? If the answer is yes, then this is the video for you. I'll be making two different rock walls, one simple and one more complex. I time every step of the process to show what kind of results you get for the time you invest. For this, you may be able to prioritize better and speed up your builds without sacrificing the end result. I use XPS foam for the modeling. It's easy to work with and can give some really great looking results. I begin by dividing the foam into stones with a pencil. As you can see, I don't measure or use rulers because I want this to go fast. And to be honest, it's still gonna look good in the end. For the more complex rock wall, I wanted it to look more like old natural rocks, so after dividing the foam into individual rocks, I rounded some of the rocks using a homemade tool. Just a popsicle stick carved into the tip I needed for the job. And already you can see a big difference in building time. I'm not going to coat the foam in Mod Podge as a protective layer this time, because I don't really like painting on top of it and don't need the durability, since I usually work on dioramas. But you might want to do it if you're making pieces for a tabletop game. Instead, I start by coating everything in matte black acrylic paint and do my best to get into all the nooks and crannies. A higher quality paint may cover everything in one coat, but you may need a second coat if some foam is still showing through. Watering down your paint will help it run into the smallest recesses. Next, you should consider the environment you're making your terrain for. If you're going for a dark dungeon or a bright desert setting, it should look different and require different color schemes. In this case, the first layer is a warm gray covering everything except the deepest recesses. And again, a higher level of complexity requires more work, which takes more time. Next, I paint a lighter gray on some random stones. Even though it's pretty watered down, acrylic paint dries quite fast, so I'm ready for the next step almost immediately. Now, let's introduce some color on a few more random rocks. You can go wild and add as many different shades as you like, the more the better, but this adds time and complexity to your process. If you're doing mass production, maybe stick with just one or two different shades, like this. Now, let's bring everything together with a dark wash. In this case, Agrax Earthshade from Citadel. This is one of those steps that will slow down the build because of drying time. But as you can see, it makes a big difference. When the wash is 100% completely dry, we'll line up and bring back some detail with a light grey dry brush. I also try to keep the number of colors to a minimum, which is why I'm using one of the paints from an earlier step. It makes the process easier and more accessible. Look at that! I think it's starting to look pretty good already. What do you think? Let's make them look even better by speckling the surface using an old toothbrush. This adds extra realism and interest to the surface, and I use both light grey and dark brown. It doesn't take long and looks pretty good, but it is a bit messy. Now, let's give the rocks more dimension. I dilute the paint with a bit of water to almost a milky consistency and paint it over the top parts of every rock. The paint will dry darker, so it's a matter of trusting the process. If you're hesitant at this stage, you can add more water to the paint mix and do this step multiple times until you're happy. Naturally, this will add time to the process as well. To qualify as a fast build, this is where I call the painting done and maybe the build as well. but I want to add flocking using some blended turf from Woodland Scenics. I use a sacrificial paintbrush and add wood glue where I want the flocking to be. I look at reference pictures for inspiration here, which is actually smart to do from the very beginning. Adding this moss layer has an added benefit. It can hide any mistakes made during painting, but I don't want to go overboard and cover all the pretty work we've done. The flocking on its own can look quite flat, however, so as a last step I'm giving it some highlights with a light green. The flocking works as a sponge and it's so satisfying to apply. And with that, the walls are done. Let's take a look at the final result. When it comes to time spent on these, you can see for yourself. Remember that I filmed everything, which drastically makes the process slower, so I'd say you would be able to make these even faster than me. Okay, so what's the conclusion? To reduce the time spent on a build, you need to reduce complexity. And, if possible, the total amount of steps from the start to finish. Still, spending more time on any art form will usually make it look better. That's just how it is. I also believe that a bad model can look pretty good with a great paint job, but even the best built model will look bad with a terrible one. So here's a bonus tip. Prioritize the painting stage over the building stage. I hope this was useful. If it was, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. I'll return to building a diorama in the next video. Until next time, goodbye.